COCO Gauff urged to just shut down her run as former pro points out mental toll. Former Australian player Rennie Stubbs recently shared her thoughts on what COCO Gauff should do to address her technical issues on hard courts. Speaking on her podcast, the Aussie suggested that the American should shut down her season temporarily and focus on refining her game away from the public eye. Stubbs' remarks come amid Gauff's dip in form since her French Open triumph in June. The American has yet to capture another title and recently saw her China Open defense end in the semifinals. What did Rennie Stubbs say about COCO Gauff amid recent struggles? Since her French Open victory, Gauff has struggled to regain momentum, delivering results below her usual standards. Her grass court campaign ended early, with a second-round loss in Berlin followed by a first-round exit at Wimbledon. The American's fortunes didn't improve on the North American hard court swing either, with a quarter-final finish in Cincinnati marking her best result. Gauff began her Asian swing on a promising note, returning to Beijing to defend her WTA 1000 crown. The American recorded convincing wins over Kamila Rakimova, Leylah Fernandez, Belinda Bencic, and Eva List to reach the semifinals. However, she fell short against compatriot and eventual champion Amanda Anisimova, losing in straight sets. One of Gauff's biggest challenges this season has been her technique, particularly her serve. In an effort to address it, the American brought on renowned mentor and biomechanics coach Gavin McMillan into her team. While Gauff may have her own approach to improvement, former Australian player Rennie Stubbs believes taking a break to focus on her technical flaws could be the right move for the young star. Again, that's the situation, right? Is it the right thing to do? I don't know. Everybody knows, I have said it several times in the pod, I would have shut it down for the season and really try to work on those technical flaws, she said in the Rennie Stubbs Tennis podcast. Gauff's serving woes have been evident this season as she committed 27 double faults at the US Open and won just 38% of her first serve points against Anisimova in the China Open semifinal. All in all, the two-time major champion leads the chart for most double faults in 2025. Stubbs noted that while Gauff adapts well to clay, she struggles on hard courts against opponents who hit flat and hard, which could eventually take a mental toll. On hard court you are going to struggle against players who hit the ball that flat and hard. So at some point, COCO is going to be like, it has to start taking a mental toll on you. So that is why I was like, just shut it down, who cares? Go and practice somewhere, where no one is paying attention and work on those technique flaws, she added. How did Stubbs compare Gauff's current situation to a dream? Later in the podcast, Stubbs emphasized Gauff's on-court vulnerability, comparing it to a dream. She noted the immense pressure the American faces at Arthur Ashe Stadium, referencing her breakdown during the US Open second-round match against Donna Vekic. I am sure everyone had a dream where they have been naked, walking down a hallway or something. They are like, can't get back into their house. I have had those dreams. And you are just like, what would you do? I feel like COCO goes out onto Arthur Ashe Stadium, we saw when she broke down. Imagine having to go out there, you feel literally naked every single time, and you are like, can someone give me some clothes? She said later. With her double fault and technical issues persisting, it remains to be seen how Coach McMillan helps Gauff address them. She needs to turn things around quickly, as she has significant ranking points at stake. Her next stop is Wuhan, where she must defend 390 points from last year's semi-final appearance, followed by a daunting 1,500 points at this year's WTA Finals. In the world of professional tennis, brilliance often comes at a price. For COCO Gauff, the 21-year-old phenom whose rise has captivated the world since she stunned Venus Williams at Wimbledon at just 15, that price may be catching up. Fresh off a whirlwind season that saw her claim her first Grand Slam title and firmly establish herself in the top tier of women's tennis, Gauff now finds herself at the center of a growing concern, not about her talent or results, but about her well-being. After a string of emotionally and physically taxing matches, a former pro has made headlines by suggesting that Gauff should just shut down her run for her own sake. The message, though blunt, carries an undercurrent of compassion and urgency that's beginning to echo throughout the tennis community. A relentless schedule. Gauff's calendar this season has been relentless. From major titles to media commitments, charity appearances, and the pressures of constantly being the face of the future, she's carried more than most players her age ever do. Despite her maturity, athleticism, and grace under pressure, the workload and the spotlight are taking a toll. While she continues to compete at a high level, cracks have begun to show. In several recent matches, commentators have noted her frustration, her slower footwork, and uncharacteristic dips in energy. Fans watch her wiping sweat from her brow, drawing deep breaths between points, eyes searching for something, maybe strength, maybe relief. "She's a fighter, no question," said retired WTA player and analyst Martina Hingis in a recent broadcast. "But even the strongest fighters need to rest." Another former pro, who asked not to be named, was more direct. "If I were in her camp, I'd shut it down. Just stop. It's not about rankings anymore, it's about protecting a young woman from burning out too early." The mental game behind the game. Tennis is unique in its demands. Unlike team sports, where energy and pressure are dispersed among teammates, tennis is solitary. You win alone. You lose alone. And for someone like Coco Gauff, a teenager thrust into the media machine, burdened with being not only a sports icon but a role model and cultural figure, the solitude can be deafening. In a 2024 interview, Gauff admitted, "Sometimes it's not even the tennis that gets to me. It's everything around it. The expectations, the media, the constant need to prove myself." While she speaks with poise far beyond her years, experts warn that emotional burnout doesn't always arrive loudly. Often, it creeps in slowly, a quiet erosion of motivation, joy, and clarity. Dr. Mira Thompson, a sports psychologist who has worked with Olympic athletes, explains, "When an athlete is constantly in the spotlight, expected to perform and uphold an image, their identity can become blurred. They forget what rest feels like. They think taking a break is weakness. It's not, it's strength." Lessons from the past. The call for Gauff to shut down her season brings to mind similar moments in tennis history. Naomi Osaka, after winning multiple majors at a young age, famously stepped away from the game to prioritize her mental health. Ash Barty, the former world number one, shocked the world by retiring at the height of her career, citing emotional exhaustion and a desire to live a life outside tennis. Both women were praised and criticized. But now, with hindsight, many see their decisions as bold, necessary, even trailblazing.